Abhyāsa and Vairāgya are the technical terms used in yoga philosophy for the concepts of discipline or practice and detachment. So they function as a pair of opposites, each one providing a different direction for the practice and also providing a different result that in the end will combine to promote the goal of yoga, which will be samadhi, deep meditation, and freedom for the mind. In the Eastern philosophies, religions, spiritual pathways, you see a lot of display of opposites. You see that, for example, in the Hatha Yoga tradition of prana and apana, so two opposite forces, subtle forces of the body that you join or push each other against to promote a different result. You see that in terms of Buddhism as the concept of ultimate reality and conventional reality. So, for example, the practitioner that is enlightened and stepped into emptiness, but at the same time is existing in form with a body, as a person with day-to-day activities. You see that also as, again, more in the Buddhist side, as form and emptiness. So emptiness is form, form is emptiness. In any case, there are many instances, especially in the Eastern side, of opposites at play. But of course, this discipline and detachment, they're not so philosophical, they're more practical in nature. But it's just an interesting point to note on these traditions. Now, speaking more of each, the discipline or the Abhyāsa, if you read on the Patañjali Yoga Sutras, you define Abhyāsa as a practice, as a discipline, which is only really true Abhyāsa, or truly considered discipline, if you match 3 points. Now, the first is that your practice is continuous. That means there's no interruption. It's not something like, well, I used to do my yoga or my meditation practice for a week and then I stop for the holidays and then I come back after the holidays. Or I do every weekend and then I stop on the weekdays. The idea is to be continuous. It's something that you do maybe hopefully every day or as close to that as possible. That's number one, continuity. Then the second point to be checked is that this continuity has to be sustained over a period of time. So it's only true practice if you have done it for an extended period. You see a lot of that with the beginner's excitement. You learn some practice, maybe some postures, maybe some meditation, maybe some breathing, and you get all excited and you do that pretty intensely for a few months, and then other commitments come into place and you let go of the practice. This is also not considered true discipline, true Abhyāsa. It should be done that should be something that you have done over an extended period of time. You're talking here more in terms of years, for you to be able to say, okay, now I'm steeped in this yoga. And then the third aspect, which I find quite interesting, is that it should be done with a sense of devotion or faith. Now, this devotional, it's not necessarily that it has to be a religious practice, but the way that I understand that sutra is from a practical point, from a practical perspective, is that if you don't treat things as if they are special, it's difficult to sustain it. Think of a relationship, for example. You have one special person. If you don't, although every person is a person, every human is a human, if you don't show that you consider that person special by treating differently and providing special gifts and time and effort and so on, that relationship will tend to break apart. Because there's a certain expectation that some special treatment, some devotional aspect should be given to that person. On the same extent, if you're having a practice and you want to continue, you want to achieve that long period of time, long-lasting practice, with continuity, you have to have some sense of devotion. You have to treat it with a taste of speciality. And on my understanding, this comes a lot by treating a practice as a ritual. So, for example, to have a certain way of starting, a certain way of ending, which is the classic way. For example, doing some chanting in the beginning, or if you're more on the religious track, doing a prayer in the beginning, or maybe you do in a special room, you have a special place for your practice, or you light some incense before, or a candle, or whatever it is, whatever you're inclined to as a form of ritual. So a way of starting, a way of conducing it, a way of ending, and to kind of save time for it. Same way as if you're going to a special place. Like in the old days, you're going to church and then you put your best clothes and you prepare yourself for it. So for a practice, for a discipline to be sustained over time, in general, can be interesting to have this aspect of devotion, of treating it as something special, not ordinary. And a few more points in terms of abhyāsa or discipline is that, of course, it should not be harmful. Whatever practice you choose should not be something too extreme. We're not talking military style here. In any case, if you're looking for a practice that is continuous and long-lasting, it cannot be harmful, it cannot be too much. It should be a gradual process of evolution, let's say, which matches the idea of vinyasa. Vinyasa means intelligent placement or intelligent construction, which is a gradual process of making whatever it is that you're doing better, moving upwards, moving forward. And it's better if that's done with patience and over a period of time, so it slowly builds up on you. So traditionally, you would say that yoga practice, in terms of yoga, I mean yoga as postures, as breathing, as meditation, should be something that is done slowly, gradually, not in a harsh, in a fast way. As a last point, we could relate this idea of Abhyāsa, of discipline, with also the concept in Patañjali of Kriyāyoga, the yoga of action, which I won't get too much in detail, that will be another talk, but you can think of practice as things that are physical, tapas. So you think of postures, you think of breathing practices, so physical aspects of yoga. You can think of Abhyāsa as discipline in terms of verbal practice, so studying, chanting, mantra practice, prayer, so things that are related to language. And you can relate Abhyāsa discipline with mental practice, that will be Ishvara Pranidhana, which is the more kind of devotional relaxation of the mind, which is more like setting a mood on the mind. So more related to mental attitudes. So in that sense, you can think of Abhyāsa on those three realms of physical, verbal, and mental as the training of an attitude for the mind, for life. The second key term on these dual points is the Vairāgya. Vairāgyam is detachment, or letting go, or non-attachment. If you see on the Yoga Sutras, normally Vairāgya will be classified in two stages, a lower form and a higher form. The lower detachment is basically you're trying to detach from anything that is harmful to you. So think in terms of addictions or things that you have overdone. Things that are now that you have overdone, they are creating some form of damage, physical, mental, spiritual, collective. And if you are truly sincere with yourself, if you truly watch yourself through mindfulness and self-study, we are always addicted in some way or another to something. It might not be something obviously addictive like alcohol or drugs or substance, but can be emotional patterns, can be ways of thinking, can be attachment to a view, like this is the way life should be, or this is the right way. Can be attachment to the body, like I want to be always healthy and strong and young. Can be attachment to beauty, can be attachment to enjoyment, can be attachment to discipline, can be attachment to detachment. So you can be attached to several things, and if you look into any stage of your life, most probably find something that you are becoming attached to. So Vairāgya is a continuous process of self-observation and not allowing the mind or the personality to crystallize into something, to be holding on to be craving, to be glued to a pattern that with time will cause harm, will prevent the development of that individual. So this initial stage of Vairāgya is, the lower Vairāgya is more you watch for what's harmful and you detach from it. There's a second stage of Vairāgya or detachment, which is a very yogic point, which is to detach basically from all expectations, even for the good. Because the lower stage, when you're detaching from what's negative, is because you're looking for the positive, and that's good. But the higher stage is when the yogi or the practitioner, he got to a point of noticing reality that it perceives that there's nothing to be held on to. In fact, you can't hold on to things, so you kind of have an overall attitude of letting go. It will be always there, either for the good or the bad. It's always things just come and go to that mind, and there's no attachment into any circumstance, any memory, any expectation. That higher Vairāgya you can leave aside and think about the lower Vairāgya. We're trying to have good lives, we're trying to have a good mind, a good existence. And normally the sequencing for Vairāgya, for detachment, to be, first you have to detach from the sensations on your body. Normally, whatever it is that you want to do, whatever you're attached to, will create a physical sensation, a mood, an experience, an emotion, a feeling, which can be perceived on the body, like excitement or sadness. It's something that you relate by a sensation on your body. So the first stage of Vairāgya is to learn how to sense your body, to be mindful of your body, and then relaxing that sensation or letting go of that sensation. So let's say I enjoy drinking and I feel like drinking, and I feel that excitement rising in me just by the thought of wanting to go for a drink. So the first step of Vairāgya is to turn the attention to my body and see if I can relax that sensation via the body, via the senses. A second stage of Vairāgya is mental training. So now maybe I'm more familiar with the body, I relax the body, and now through mindfulness, I will learn how to watch the mind and learn how to silence the mind. So as the thoughts of that addictive process or whatever it is that I'm holding on to, as they keep surfacing or entering the mind space, I open it, I let it go, I leave it, even before it moves into the body. So it's on the mental space, I learn how to drop it. So to train for the mind to be more silent. A third stage of this detachment is, you could say, an unconscious place. It's not something you actually do, is as you continue to detach body and mentally wise, it becomes part of your personality. It becomes part of the fabric of your mind. And it gets to a point you don't even think about that anymore. So with the example of drinking, let's say, I start by learning how to relax my body so that that expectation, that anxiety about the substance is removed. Then I start to watch my mind. So as the thoughts enter, I drop it. And if I do it for long enough, at some point, I will not even want to do it anymore. Now the personality has changed. So that will be the last stage, when there's not even effort anymore. The intention doesn't even surface. For a general yoga practice, out of the two, Abhyāsa and Vairāgya, or discipline and detachment, actually the chief component is detachment. We could say that the pathway of yoga, now include Buddhism as well here, is a path of detachment. It's to learn how to let go. Discipline is the process that creates the ground for then you be able to let go. It creates the strength, it creates the willpower, it creates the capacity of mind to be able to then detach. But overall, detachment is the chief one. Detachment is the goal. What to detach, when to detach, how much to detach, all of that is very individual, very specific. It has to be treated with care. But overall, that's the quality that you're looking for. And the last point is, when Patañjali speaks of Abhyāsa and Vairāgya, or discipline and detachment, he's talking pretty much about samadhi, which is meditation, deep meditation, absorption. So this discipline, this detachment is not like the same as when you see people go to the gym and they're saying, well, I have my discipline to build up the body and to be healthier. That's all good. But when we are talking here about discipline, it's towards meditation. The goal of yoga is to be able to enter deeper states of meditation which allow different understandings of reality, understandings of life. So this discipline and this detachment is geared for the preparation of the mind for meditation, so that you can have the proper arrangement and then meditation can unfold, it can happen.